Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. This is going to be an awesome session and something that I think is going to help a lot of people, especially regarding selling stuff. I've been selling or part of the sales process or working with salespeople for the past 18 years now, and sold some really expensive stuff myself in time gone by. Run this organization. I actually even consider, being a leader or a operator of an organization, executive, sort a type of selling. And so you're kind of always in the position of selling. Either you're selling your position, your company, your ability to lead, your ability to help somebody get somewhere they need to go. You're selling your spouse on whether you want to go out to eat, or you're selling your children on why they should get good grades and why they need to focus on their homework, or you're selling yourself on why you need to do a really good job doing your physical fitness regime because you need it yourself, right? And so as we get started in this webinar today, I just want to kind of start it with that understanding that this process of selling, everyone in every area of your life, you sell something. If you saw this webinar, you're like, well, I don't sell anything, so I don't need to watch it. Well, I think you might benefit from this because the process of selling in every area of your life, it will help you. It will help you become a better person and be a better facilitator of getting big things done. So in this webinar, we're talking about selling high ticket products and how to help people basically choose you over the competition. All right, so my name is Jason Ellinger. I'm the CEO of Taika Translations. Please go like and subscribe to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Would really appreciate that. And if you know somebody who needs the information that we serve our clients with and serve YouTube with each and every day, please send these videos to them so that they can take part in that, because a lot of this is very free and very valuable information. Well, it's all free and very valuable information that you can take and really grow and launch your business, grow your business, or make yourself a little bit better. And as leaders in every capacity, that's something that we never stop doing. It's a constant. It's a part of life that never changes for us. And so as you join with me in this webinar today, I hope that is very meaningful to you and very helpful to you, as that this webinar is very meaningful and helpful to you as we work through it. So again, my name is Jason Ellinger. I'll tell you a couple small stories throughout this thing about just about some of the selling experiences that I've had in my life that help you kind of just give a little bit more depth and understanding on what I'm talking about as I work through the material. But without further ado, let's move forwards. So the problem in today's society is this, and I see it. It happens to me day in and day out. Every single week, we are getting marketed to. So we live in the most marketed to culture that has ever existed. People and companies and corporations are better now marketing to human beings than they have ever been, using AI, using automation, using email campaigns, using videos, using whatever other methodology out there to get their message in front of the right eyes. We live in that market. It is the most marketed to culture that has ever existed, especially in the United States of America. That's who Americans are. Like, we've become so good at this capitalism thing that every revolution we get better and better and better. I mean, that's why we have billboards all the way down all the streets. Like, you drive through a city and you can't, like, there's just massive billboards marketing this or that, or all these legal companies, like you're driving down the road and somebody had an accident. It was like, okay, there's already a sign right here that says you can go and talk to this attorney about getting your remunerated for whatever happened to you on the road. Like, there's so many marketing messages everywhere. I would explain them. I mean, I would describe them, and I think a lot of you would too, as bombardment. Like, when I am just searching for something, you just go to Facebook or just go to Google and type in some product and you're searching for it. And then, like, mysteriously over the next 12 days, you're going to get in your Facebook account, your Instagram account, you're just going to pop up ads on Google. all over the place. Are these filtering into your life, these messages, these bombardments of messaging around the stuff that you like. You just had a question about the product. You didn't even want to buy it, but all this messaging comes in anyways, and you're like bombarded with all of these different, very invasive types marketing. And I would further describe it as being manipulative. All right, so case in point, have you ever been scrolling through Facebook or whatever social media platform, right? TikTok, Snapchat, whatever, and this really cool ad pops up about a product that you didn't think you need, but you'd kind of like to have. And it's like, man, that is so freaking cool. I really need that. And so you just go order it. It's like $50. You order it and you're like, man, okay, I didn't even plan to order it, but I just ordered it. And then it arrives at your doorstep and you open the package and you're like, well, large ain't really a large. I mean, extra large, that's like an X, double X small for me. Like, it doesn't even come close to fitting me. And you go back and you like even try to find that same place where you bought that from, and it's like nowhere to be found. You can't find that company. It doesn't exist. So it's like manipulative. Like you're just scrolling. I don't know, that company probably made a couple $1 million off of this stupid advertisement about this thing that doesn't even fit. Yes, my name is Jason. I like some stuff, and I have been there and done that, and that was really dumb. And I never did it again either, because after that, I was like, screw that. I will never buy such products off of such advertising ever again. So that moves it to that last point. Today, so many of the marketing messages that we're getting bombarded with that are invading our privacy, that are manipulating us to buy stupid stuff that we didn't even need, are self-serving. And all of these things contradict what it actually takes to sell high-ticket good items. Like you can sell maybe up to $100 product or maybe up to $1,000 product for a very short period of time with this kind of messaging, with this kind of manipulation. But if you want to build a long-term business that actually works and that you can sell again and again and again and serve people well with, you're going to have to do it the right way. And that's what this webinar is about today. So today, there are mountains and mountains of training on sales, because selling sells. Selling sells. Now, guys, I just wrote a couple of these slides. I'm in a super rush to get this up and published. So, guys, some of my thoughts are also displayed on these slides as well. So, in my life, different people have said Jason is like a natural seller. You know, he just can kind of sell stuff. But some of the positions that I've hated the most is selling. I always felt like I never wanted to be categorized as a salesperson, because I always felt it was like dirty or contradictory or some kind of manipulative thing that people do to enhance their own affluence, their own wealth, or their own self-serving needs. And I just never wanted to be characterized as that. But everybody in my life, talking about relatives and friends and so on and so forth, like, Jason just is just kind of a natural salesperson, and I just always felt like, man, that's not a nice label to put on me. And so, just a quick story about selling cars and how that kind of feeds into this is, when I was in the United States Air Force, my wife and I, we just got married, and we were looking for some hot side hustles to do. So I was in the Air Force, and so I would come home in the evenings. And it would be like, okay, so what else can we do? We were always very productive, proactive people. My wife and I, we just always wanted to just do more. I mean, like there was a period of time when my wife and I, we made tiramisu, and we sold it on Valentine's Day simply because, well, she's a really good cook. She was really good at selling that stuff, and we sold that. And so during the day, my wife would scour the internet looking for ads for people to sell who are selling their cars. Because if you know anything about Air Force people or military people in general, they move every 3 to 5 years. So there's a constant cycle of moving throughout the different bases. And whenever you're stationed somewhere, you know, in 3 to 5 years, you're probably going to be moving to another base. Could be across the country, could be across the world. In our case, we were stationed in Ramstein, Germany. I was in the United States Air Force. And so my wife, during the day, she would scour the ads and she would find all of the ads that of cars we like, okay, that's actually kind of a nice. It would be like a Honda Civic or a Honda Accord or maybe a Mazda or some kind of maybe a Honda Odyssey or a Toyota Sienna or something like that. Those kind of cars where people would be like that, great family cars or great just to get to and from A to B in the base cars. And they were just like these, you know, these helpful, like just the basic kind of cheap cars that everybody needed whenever they went anywhere. And so she'd be looking through, it's like, okay, we have this, you know, a few $1,000s and we can buy that car and then we can go and sell it and we can make a little profit on it. And so that was one of the things she did. She would find she would look through all the ads, and then in the evening she'd be like, okay, I found this, and this ad, take a look at them. I would take a look at them because I had the kind of more mechanical background. And then we would look at them like, okay, this one, no, this one, no, this one's definitely going to be a problem. That one's a Nissan. I don't like Nissans. So if anybody likes Nissans out there, more power to you. I just personally don't like Nissan. I prefer a Honda or Toyota. So anyways, I even bought a Hyundai once. I mean, that's going pretty far for me. So anyways, all right. So then I would come home, check all the specifications. We'd make the phone calls in the evening to talk to all these people. And then we'd say, okay, I think I could sell that car for this much more. And so then we would go to visit these people and we'd buy the car and make the transfer. And then the next week, like because these people were PCSing, it means they were going to another base. And we would put it back up on the market. Like the very next week, we would take the car home. I would vacuum the heck out of it, wax it, clean it, shine it, replace the brake pads, whatever needed to be done, change the oil, whatever, shine this sucker up, and we would put it back on the market and we would put a margin on it. And this was one of our first kind of family little business things that we did. And lo and behold, we made money. Like we sold car after car after car after car. My family, we've owned so many freaking cars that I only drove for like 2 weeks by now. It's ridiculous. Maggie and I, my wife's name is Maggie, and we sold cars. But we always bought the car at a really good price. I negotiated those down, and then we would go back and we would sell those cars for a fair price, but higher than what we bought it for, and counting in all of our labor and pricing that went into it. And so I would show up and just talk to people. There was one. I remember one sale in particular, and the guy said something very key to me, and I just like, what? And I never knew that I was doing that. But whenever I would speak to him, speak to people about the cars, I would just tell them everything I knew about the entire vehicle. And the guy said, you know what, Jason, you really built my level of trust in like just you as a person. And I was like, man, I just kind of shrugged. I was like, well, I wasn't even trying to do that. I'm just telling you, you know, if you have a need for this car, this is what the car is. And it was like, no, it's like, you really gave me that aura of trust as I'm talking through this. And I caught that and I thought about it afterwards and I was like, I guess there's something to that. And so we're going to talk about that a little more as we go into this webinar today. All right, guys. So over time, I learned some very key points. Good selling is this. Good selling is a valuable service that you and I provide to others. Good selling always has the other person's best interest at heart. Whenever I would go sell those cars, if there was something that I knew was wrong with this vehicle, either I wouldn't sell it. Like there was one time when I bought a vehicle, and just a case in point, it was a Honda Accord, and it had some really bad previous owners, and the engine was blown. I took it to the car mechanic shop. I got the valves redone, but it had a further problem, and the rings and the cylinders were worn away. And because of that, I realized that this car was going to be a very bad car for anybody in the future. So I had to sell it to the junkyard, and I made a loss on that vehicle because the guy who sold it to me for a great price, for a cheap price, what it was worth. And I'm glad for that. But I could have made like $6,000. Instead, because I didn't, when I took the heads off and had them, the valves replaced, I didn't have the cylinders. Also, the block also worked over, and I put it all back together. And by that time, the labor price would have been exceeded the price that I invested, and it didn't make any sense anymore. So we had to sell it at a loss. So you always have the best interest of the other person at heart. In that situation, you're not willing to sell something that is not valuable, that not helpful, not actually going to make their life better. And you have to be able to do that and build that kind of relationship with your client. So good selling is that. And if it genuinely will not help others or make their lives better, you don't make the sale. If it does not improve their life in some specific way, you don't make the sale, because ultimately that's bad selling. Okay. Good selling is always a win on both sides. All right. So again, please go to Jason Ellinger, Taika CEO on YouTube. Like this video, subscribe to our channel. Check out the other videos I have. A ton of videos about business, how you can grow and operate your business, and how you can do it in a very principled and founded way that works. My name is Jason Ellinger. I've been in entrepreneurial business type work for more than 20 years. And it's one of the passions of my life, and able to share this content with you through this medium is just an awesome new practice for us. So as we develop this channel out, please share this with your friends, like and subscribe, comment, let us know some of the comments, some of the things that challenges that you're facing in your businesses, or ask us a question. Like if you have a question right now during this video, as I go through the content of this video, please shoot it to us, and I'll either respond here on live screen, or I will follow up afterwards with an actual comprehensive answer. It's not going to be an AI written answer. It's going to be an actual answer written from somebody who's been in the trenches, who is currently in the trenches and does this stuff daily. I currently operate a company called Division People and Taika Translations, and we are a multi-million-dollar company, and we process language services. We provide in-country agents. We're consultants for entities around the world doing international transactions, and and digital services on top of that. So if you need any of those, please go to our website and take a look at that. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about who I am, so that as we go through the video, you understand that you're not just listening to somebody who lives in their mother's basement. You're actually listening to somebody who's done some stuff, been here for a really long time, and it's worked. And so I've accumulated some reputation and wealth because of that. All right, let's go forwards. Over time, I learned the good selling are these things. Valuable service you provide others always has the best interest at heart. And if you can't genuinely help or make the person's life better, you simply don't do the sale. I know I already talked about that slide, but just to kind of get us back into it as we move forwards. Good selling is not bombardment, it is not invasive, and it is not manipulation. So real quick, before I get to the next slide, Germany trip. Recently, because we do international business, because my company operates internationally in many different countries around the world. Recently, I was traveling to Germany, Grafenwehr, Germany, where working with a client, helping them deal with some in-country agency services, and we're helping them get their process, helping them open and function in the very highly bureaucratic environment of Germany. Germany has many, many laws and many different processes that we don't have in the United States. And when you get into that environment, it's very, it's not challenging, but very intimidating, because of all the different things you have to do. And it's like, if you don't do this on time, you will be fined, or you will have your business closed, or you will have your bank account frozen. And it's like, oh my gosh, it gets very scary very quickly. And that's where my team comes in to help people. And so this client is in a very similar situation, and we're really helping them to flow through those, work through those challenges very quickly, because we provide in-country agents. That's part of our whole service. So as we work with translators and interpreters all around the world, we also work with individuals, either trying to get their visas or trying to process their personal documentation to make sure that they can stay in country, or maybe migrate to somewhere where they need to go, or they're just trying to open a business in a new country, and they don't have all of the they don't know the processes and the steps, or the bureaucratic nuances that really trip them up. And we know all of that information. We have in-country support that can help people. And so this client is, we were traveled through Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. I'm not Estonia, Poland, Czech, and eventually all the way down to Germany. And we were working through, talking with them about how to work through some of these issues. And we had a really great opportunity just to kind of show them a little bit about the culture, to talk through the difference of mentality, how things are done in those countries, not to make us look great, but just to help them not to avoid the pitfalls that would be like full stops for their business, and full an inability to proceed. And so we're just able to go down there and basically undergird what they're already doing with knowledge, experience, and administrative support. And so as we work through going down there and talking through these things, they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that you were able to come and help us through these things, because otherwise there was like a brick wall right in front of our face that we couldn't really work through it. But that's what we're here for. That's what we help people with. And so, all right, so first rule. All right, so if you're going to write these down, write this down. The first rule: if you want to sell expensive things, you must be willing to do expensive things. If you want to sell expensive things, you must be willing to do expensive things. Okay, I know I just repeated myself, but you might need to do things that are below you, that seem to be below your level of expertise. When I purchased cars way back when with my wife, I needed to clean. I needed to clean the dirt out of these cars. Dirt that I didn't put in there. Like, I bought these cars and people kind of can be a little dirty sometimes. And so the cars were dirty and I had to clean them. The funny part was I was a higher rank than the people that I bought these from. And I was like, man, I'm a higher rank than you. My cars look nicer than you. But I'm buying your car that's actually supposed to be more expensive than mine, and it looks like a trash can. Like, come on, guys. Anyway, so I just bought their cars and resold them at a profit because I was willing to take it, clean it, make it look nice, fix it up, and serve the next person that we're serving. Or I was willing to recently, right? Because we're talking about selling expensive things, drive all the way through Europe, stopping in multiple places along the way, visit a client they set up their headquarters in near Regensburg, in Bavaria, Germany. They set up their headquarters down there and drive all the way down there to meet with them and build trust, build a relationship with them. And that's a very expensive process, right? To go through multiple countries and to actually go across international borders and waters to actually visit and meet with people. That's very expensive. But if you're going to sell expensive things, then you must be willing to do expensive things. So maybe it means you need to clean. Maybe it means you need to decorate something that looks a little ugly. If you buy a new house, you buy a house in a rough, as long as it's in a good neighborhood, but the house looks a little rough, the bushes are overgrown, the grass isn't cut. You can see it's not been cut for about 2 years. The sidewalk's not cleaned off, right? There's no curtains on the windows. There's just some dirty or nasty stuff. Maybe some old carpet needs to be ripped out. You're going to have to do expensive stuff. Be willing to do expensive stuff to get to sell an expensive thing. So it means you might need to be willing to do something that is kind of beneath you, or menial tasks that you don't think you should have to do at this stage of your life, but you do in order to sell expensive things. And I think this leads to simply the mentality of being humble. Selling is not about how you can get somebody to buy your thing. Selling is how you can serve them well by developing that relationship, so that when the time comes, the sale is almost natural. It's just a natural result of a forward moving process. You helping them helping you, and you're working together. Okay, so if you want to be selling expensive things, you must be willing to do expensive things. And that may cost you your time, may cost you your pride, because that's expensive too, right? Your pride may cost you some money because you got to go visit somebody somewhere internationally, and may mean you have to spend a lot of extra time creating some new options or packages, some things you didn't previously do, but you see the client needs them, so you create those packages for them and serve them that way. So be willing to do those types of expensive things. If you have any questions about this stuff, please put it in the chat, and I'll address those as you put them in the chat. All right, let's move to the next rule. All right, if you want to sell expensive things, you must do the work to find out what the client needs. And so many of us think, well, if I can't see the needs in the marketplace, I can't find out what the client's needs. No, you must do, like, people get paid millions for being able to find out what other people need. There are billions of dollars this year being spent by credit card companies to market to people about credit cards. They want to find exactly what people need, and then they want to marry themselves to that thing so that they're able to market it, the credit cards, to you. So they find out what you need. Of course, that, in my estimation, I don't use credit cards. I don't like credit. And so we don't use credit in our daily lives, but they spend billions figuring out how to find out what their clients need. And if they're spending billions on a product that's substandard, then products that are actually stellar, like the ones you offer, you ought to be spending a lot of time finding out what the client actually needs. Because when you know what they need, when you know what their needs are, you can actually facilitate that. You can come up with a list of things that you can do to make sure that need is met. And that's the beauty of being able to sell well and sell expensive things, is you create the solution. So if you don't create a way to find out what they need, you will not sell it to them, and you will get bad reviews. All right. So this is a really important point. You can sell them something that might not meet their need. And if you sell them something and it doesn't meet their need, they're going to blame you anyways. And if they blame you for that, you're going to get bad reviews. If you get bad reviews, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get bad PR. If you get bad PR, nobody's going to want to do business with you, and it's going to be harder to make the next sale. So every time you make a sale, every time you work through trying to find out what to sell, make sure it is actually what the client needs. And it might differ from what they want. Because if they say, I want this, I want to increase sales in my company, or I want to hire really great people, but they don't have the processes in place to maintain those sales, to find out what the needs of the client are, and to deliver on those needs, then you're going to hurt them. If we come in as consultants and we help people increase their leads, or we help people increase their ability to sell, and they don't have the ability to deliver, that might differ from what they want. They want to be able to sell more, but they can't deliver. So you need to help them understand that, well, one of the things that you really need to do is to be able to deliver on what we're offering, because the delivery part is where we're going to get our recurring sales from, and our recurring clients, or our referral clients. So if you want to sell expensive things, you're going to have to do the work to find out what the client needs, and that might differ from what they want. The client, this process is going to be expensive. It's going to require some hours of effort, some hours of work, and discovery meetings with your clients. And your ability to connect with them and talk with them and help them understand what they need and what they need you to provide them is a big part of this process. And so if you want to sell expensive things, you're going to have to work with the client to make sure you find out what they need, and that what they say they need might be different. What they say they want might be different than what they actually need. And it's your job as the person selling expensive things to facilitate that for them. And so I just want to kind of drive that home, that just because somebody says they want something, I remember the story I read, what was the book? I don't know. It was written by one of these great motivators. He said he was in a bike shop. He needed to buy his son a bike. And this woman came into the bike shop. And while they were in the bike shop, this woman came in with her son, and she's like, okay, I need a bike for my son. And the bike shop owner, he was like, well, I'm sorry, but I don't have any bikes that fit this that are the size of your son. And right now, I have nothing that I can sell to you. It's like the store is freaking full of bikes. In fact, she came in with a picture of the exact bike that she wanted. And he's like, and they had that exact bike in the store. And the guy who was writing the book said he was standing over to the side watching this interaction. And he was like, the salesman was like, yes, ma'am, I know that we have this bike and it is a really nice bike and it has two wheels and two pedals and it goes and it has all these bells and whistles and it's really awesome. But I can't sell you that bike because that will hurt your son because he will fall off of it because he can't handle that size of a bike. And if I sell it to you, then I'm selling you something that can harm your son. And I'm not willing to do that. And she was like, she just was really angry and frustrated at the guy. And she left and stormed out of the store. It's like, well, fine, I'm going to go somewhere else. It's like, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but hopefully in the future we can serve you. Never serve you in the future. But that guy standing over here on the side, who wrote the book, who was very successful, by the way. Man, I wish I could remember his name. It's very popular. He was like, I stood there and watched this interaction, and I immediately, as soon as I talked to anyone about bikes, I told them all exactly where they should go buy their bike. Because what they wanted and what they needed were two different things. And this guy wasn't willing to overstep the boundary to sell this woman something just to make a sale, just to make her, to rub her ego or make her status higher. He actually was more concerned about the need than he was concerned about making the sale. In essence, he was more conscientious of his own reputation in the marketplace and how that would impact him over time, so that he was willing to miss out on that sale. And because of that, he actually got more sales because the guy who wrote the book mentioned who this guy was and sent everybody in his community over to him because he is a very popular author. And so the opposite would have happened in the other case. Had he sold the bike to that woman, and then the kid would have taken that out, and the first or second day he would have fallen over and gotten hurt, and somebody would say, hey, that bike's too big for that kid. Where did you get that? And she was like, well, I bought it from so-and-so over here. And that would have hurt his reputation much more than him not selling the bike. So I just wanted to give you that story because I think it's very important. It explains this point very, very well. If you want to sell expensive things, make sure you know what the client needs, not just what they want. All right. Third rule. There's 5 rules, guys. If you want to sell expensive things, you must build a relationship with your clients. Okay? People buy stuff from people they connect to. Now, this is the old rule, and I know you've probably heard it before, but if you're going to sell expensive things, build a relationship first. If you build a relationship and if you found everything on you being able to meet the need, solving a problem for the client, finding out what they need, finding out the pain points for them, then you can sell expensive stuff to them. Branding is pairing. Okay. So branding means there's so much noise in the marketplace about branding. All right, listen. Branding is this. People like something, a brand, a place, a thing, Buc-ee's, I don't know, whatever it is. And Buc-ee's, maybe somebody likes Walmart, Target, whatever. They like a thing or store or something. And you associate your brand with that thing, something, or store, or brand legally. Just make sure you do it legally. You associate with that thing. You figure out what your clients like. This is part of selling expensive stuff. Figure out the stuff that your clients like, and then pair yourself with that brand. If you can pair yourself with that brand, you will be able to build a much more solid relationship faster. That's why when you go to websites that you may purchase something from a website today. You go to the website, you open the website, and you see on that website a few different logos of companies that you know in the marketplace that are great companies. And if you see this organization has done business with those companies, then they're probably pretty legitimate. That's called branding. So take and build your relationship with your client, associate yourself with the things that they like, and you will be able to sell more expensive things to them. All right, so build the relationship with your client. I think that's about all I need to say about that. If I need to say more about that, please put it in the comments and I will expand. All right, the fourth rule: create trust by being trustworthy. Sounds very simple. The person with the most trust sells the most over the client life cycle. If you most often when you work with clients and you're selling something, anything, a service, a product, odds are the life cycle of the client will be more than a single transaction. It's going to be more than one interaction, a single transaction, or a single service or product you can provide. If it is a single service or product because you're selling like a really huge thing like a jet or something crazy like that, it's very rare. But in many, many cases, being able to sell more to the client is going to cause you're going to have to be able to be more trustworthy to the client over your life cycle. So it means you need to stay close. It needs to be available. It means you need to pair with the things that they like we talked about in the last rule. And it means you need to show up and deliver when you say you are. All right, trust comes from your interest in the client's well-beings over your own. I recently wrote an email to a client of ours, and I just said, look, I realize in the past that you've been burned by such and such and such people. And since this is a new relationship, I just want to open up the floor by saying, look, we don't burn people here. If we give you a clear action that needs to be taken for your company or for the administration in this section of your company, then you know that even if it seems a little bit unpleasant to have to do, it's in your best interest to be able to accomplish that thing. And when the client knows that you are working in their best interest, thinking in their best interest, and focused on that best interest for them, that builds trust like no other mechanism that you can build it through. So trust comes from you being willing to lose, postpone, or pass up on a sale if it's not in the best interest of your client. Remember the woman who came in with her son and they had a picture of the bike they wanted and it was sitting right there in the store, but it was a bad thing for them? Trust, and the guy standing on the side, he was the one where the trust was being built with, right? Because he saw this interaction taking place and he referred lots of customers back to this guy because the person who was selling had character. And because he had great character, he built trust with his clients, the one who's standing on the side, not the one who actually wanted the thing that was bad for them. And he was willing to lose, postpone, or pass up on the sale if it wasn't in the best interest of the client. It wasn't in the best interest of the client. And so we were able to build trust. The guy from the side saw that. And again, he purchased his bike for his son and was able to develop a great relationship that would lead to other sales for that same business person. So if you want to sell expensive stuff, you have to create trust by being trustworthy. And at the end of the day, when you have worked through all the details, you have found out what they need, you have discussed what they wanted versus what they need and helped them understand maybe what they needed and that was different than what they wanted, then you have to show up. You have to deliver the goods. Deliver on the goods. If you can't deliver the goods, all of this talk, all this rapport, all of this trust building doesn't do you any good. If you can't deliver, you can't sell. So make sure you build the trust by being able to talk about all this stuff and deliver. There's so many great talkers in the marketplace today, so many incredible noisemakers on YouTube today that has actually never done anything or sold even $100,000. I mean, then they just make all of this noise and they've never actually even been in the process where it takes to sell above $1 million. But thankfully today you have access to videos just like this one where you can listen to people that actually sell millions of dollars of stuff and they share that information with you. So show up when you are needed and you will build trust. All right, the fifth rule is this: if you want to sell, and the final rule, by the way, final rule for this webinar. So if you're hanging on by the seat of your pants here, this is we're getting close to the end here. If you want to sell expensive things, follow up to make sure you met the needs and ask for specific referrals. This is a very important and critical step. So many people, we get to the transaction, we've sold the thing, and now we're done, right? No, you are not done. Absolutely not done. The sales cycle continues, because if you want to be able to sell them more stuff or sell more expensive stuff to them, you maintain the relationship. Well, what if I have nothing else to sell to them? Listen, that is a big mistake. The easiest people to sell to are people who have already bought something from you. And in business, if you have never thought through the process of how to create more stuff to sell to those same people and worked on that, then you're probably not going to be in business for very long, one thing, but you haven't fully realized the value of the client, the lifetime value of your clients. After any sale, never assume the relationship is over. Make sure you follow up to make sure you met their needs, and ask for specific referrals. And what do I mean by that? You should view every single client that you have with a potential, at least a minimum potential of at least 10 new warm or hot sales leads. And you should treat them like that, because if you can sell one thing to them and they actually give you their money, it means they trust you enough to give you their money. If they trust you enough to give you their money for something, it is very likely they trust you enough to tell some of their friends that in their circles that are going to need their stuff, because people hang around people who they are like, or who they like. People hang around those similar kind of people. And odds are that you're going to be able to serve more of the people in their community. And so if you want to sell expensive things, make sure you meet their needs and do it really, really well, and follow up asking for specific referrals. What does that mean? Well, you're on the final phone call. You're on the final, not the final phone call. You're on the final interaction with the client. Maybe it's on WhatsApp, or maybe it's on some kind of chat app or whatever. Or you're on the phone, or you're on a video call. You're like, okay, so would you please provide me with, how did the service go? Did it go? It went really well. Really appreciate the product. Yada yada yada. Okay. Are there any specific people that you could give me the phone number of or the email of that I could reach out to, or that you could introduce me to, that might need the service that I sell? And if you've done your job really well and you ask that question, 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, oh yeah, John needs it and Sally needs it. And they're probably going through this process within the next 6 months. I'll introduce you to them. And boom, you've got a couple new clients. And you would not just imagine how many sales are lost simply because that follow through is not done in sales. You sold them a thing, you helped them work through the process of the thing, and didn't ask for a referral. And if they're really happy with the work that you do, and they should be, because you served them really well, you built a relationship, you built a rapport, and you actually met their need, then they're probably very, very open to giving you access to some of their contacts, because those people need it too, and because their reputation hinges on it. Then they'll be more than happy to do that for you. So view each client with a potential of 10 new sales and treat them like it. All right, let's go to the conclusion here, guys. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Overarching principle, guys, that I want to remember is, this comes from the Bible. So many people know I'm a Bible-believing Christian. Treat your clients the way you want to be treated. If you do that, if you treat your clients the way you want to be treated, not like this high-pressure sales, not like selling them things they don't need, not like manipulative, not like I heard this one guy say, at the end of the agreement, I would just hold the paper out and then drop the pin into their hands so that they actually have to catch it. And that form of catching the pin will make them like automatically go to signing. It's like, what bull trash is that? No. If the sale is going to happen, it's going to be a very natural process. You're going to be able to move through a sale simply because you treated your client the way you wanted to be treated, and you served them very well. And they felt like you served them well, and you're able to continue and grow. So I hope this video, guys, was very helpful to you. And if something resonated from this in this video, please like the video, subscribe to our channel. Please go and leave a comment for us. And if you're watching this video after the live version, please go ahead and just leave a comment and let us know what you liked about it, what was helpful about it, or maybe what you would like to hear enhanced. And we'll be more than happy to do that. Again, my name is Jason Ellinger. I'm the CEO of Taika Translations. We do translation, interpretation, and digital services, as well as in-country support and consulting for businesses in the marketplace trying to grow their businesses and grow their businesses internationally. So look forward to hearing from you. And again, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week on Wednesday.